Howdy folks, Doc here with LastPass Tool, and I got some Wuben for you. Wuben has updated a few lights, or actually finished them, so they're full production now. I did some work with some prototypes earlier, or beta versions I guess might be better. So I thought I'd start out. Here is the new Wuben X3. Now the previous version of the Wuben X3 was this guy here. It uses that Wuben kind of combination lanyard USB cord. But anyway, it ran USB-C in this charging box. The charging box could be both a flashlight and a storage unit charger, including wireless charging, for this Wuben X3. This is the new version here. You can see it's got a white front end on at least the one I've got. Very similar as far as the clips, the magnets, things like that. But this uses a small docking cradle with the USB-C port on the back, and it is one directional because of the clip, so it drops right in. This guy here, it's got a little OLED screen, so you can see there's the 1 lumen moonlight, which fires up one of the 2 LEDs. If I hold that down, it will cycle through the 3 different settings, giving you the lumen count, or I can double click it. Whoops, triple clicked it there. Double click it to the full 700, which is turbo, or of course triple click and go to the strobe mode. What you're looking at as far as overall unit, it's fairly light. In fact, it's get my paper on it here so I can keep all of this straight. What I'm looking at here is obviously the 700, the 150, the 50, and the 1 lumen. 700 lumen strobe. It also has an SOS. The run times on this little tiny guy, which is kind of impressive because it's also fairly light, is about 2 hours on the 150. So that's its full-on regular mode, not the turbo mode. 6 hours on the 50 and 50 hours on the 1. I find 1 lumen often the speed I use probably the most. That's because I grab it in the middle of the night. Nothing amazing's happening. I just need a small light. But notice that rotating head. That's really what sets this thing apart. Turns it into a standard kind of almost GI issue 90-degree light with the screen on the top. Or I can just rotate this thing and now it becomes a traditional flashlight. So that's really its big trick. I like that Wuben is exploring that. They are with the L1, which I'll go into next. The L1 has a rotating head. It has essentially a spot and a flood, and you can choose which one you want in which position. Large rechargeable, obviously USB-C here. It doesn't have a tail push cap or tail push switch. It's got a large magnet though, and everything is run off of these 2 switches. Whoops, close up that. Notice this extra little like silicon insert that fits into the USB-C port. So when you actually seat this in, it's really snug. It's not just the usual port cover that, you know, kind of flops in. But anyway, I've got 2 here. I've got the top one, which is, if you push it, it's going to be the spot, basically. It does have pretty good flood. I did a review with this showing you outside. And then the other one is more of the floodlight, and you can see that dissipates pretty fast. So you can run either one, but that stays the same. So now I've turned it into that 90-degree. The performance on this thing is quite impressive. We're working with 2,000 lumens on high with this for the max output, followed by 1,000 lumens, and then 600 lumens. You can get about 60 hours of runtime for the max. SOS does have that. Runs around 320 lumens. So that's plenty, actually, for most SOS. I don't know if you've ever seen SOS out in the field or even a light used for that, but in a dark area, it is, you literally can see it from miles. It's quite impressive. This says it's got a beam distance of 350 meters on the full 2000. 350 meters is a long ways. Oh, and you can run both lights too, so you could use it both as a light to, you know, kind of navigate with while you're looking around. And sometimes with these more narrow spots, you basically lose what's right in front, so you're constantly lifting it up and down, or kind of keeping it down and lifting if you need to, in order to see where you're going. This is actually kind of a game changer to be able to run both, and you can run both IOs individually too. So you can, if you need more light on the downside, you can do that, as well as the upside. So it does allow you to easily navigate more cumbersome terrain. You notice the pocket clip, it is not a deep carry. It keeps the head of the flashlight well above that. That is deliberate. It's designed to slide into a pocket or a belt or a clip, or a strap that then turns this into kind of that standard, again, 90-degree flashlight, which the more I use these things, the more I find them surprisingly helpful. I guess I just forgot about how handy it was to have a 90-degree flashlight that I could fast clip to something. You also notice this thing rotates 360 degrees. This is the pocket clip. So whatever you've got, you know, maybe it's on the front. This would be how you might drop it into the pants pocket there. Maybe on the side of a backpack or a messenger bag or something there, or on the side. That might be your belt if it's on the side. You don't want it in the front, you're sitting down. But anyway, overall, I like that Wuben is really pushing the limits of different kinds of lighting. Lastly, this one, it's been out a while, but I am a huge fan of these kinds of kind of camp lights. This is a Wuben F5. I'll show you the features in a sec, but I've tried a bunch of them. Here's a BioLite with a solar panel. I had a few BioLites. I give them away as I get tired of them. Here's Ozark Trail, so if you go down to the basement, you can find stuff like this. This is a hybrid light, also quite nice. The hybrid light and the Ozark Trail do pop up to provide kind of a lantern lighting. If you want that, it does make a difference. It's a real light. But what this does, this is a heavier ABS plastic, can turn it on here, and it fires up with, I don't know if you can see that. You can see the array of LEDs. There's also another color possible here. Let me get to that. There we go, to the yellow, kind of a more softer one, or both. I don't know if it's sort of hard to see, but now they're both on. I can raise and lower the brightness of the light with pluses and minuses. Let me drop it. Let me shut it off and show you right here, plus and minus, so I can easily navigate this. And another interesting feature about this, it has a breathing light here. This is actually the battery indicator, but if I triple click the W here, what it does is it turns on these 4 blue lights which indicate the battery, but then they slowly dim and then come back up and then slowly dim. And what that is, they call it breathing. And if I turn that on at night and then just maybe toss this in the corner of my tent or my RV or something, I'll be able to see that. It's not going to keep me awake. It's not very bright, but it also doesn't use much battery power. So then I can grab a hold of this thing, and if I can find the buttons, here's the back end, I'll tell you about that in a sec, I can turn this thing on. So that's great. It has a hook, a ring, a magnet, so it sticks to things. On the back side here, we've got the charging port, and you notice there's a USB out. That USB out is to charge your phone or something like that. It's you're not going to get a lot of charges from a small battery like this, but believe it or not, that can be a real game changer when you are looking for the charge and you need the phone more than you might need the light. And it's got a lanyard here and a tripod mount as well, so you could screw this onto any of the quarter 20 mounts you might have, and that also means that you can use this for video conferencing, because you could mount it up to a small tripod and then use it for that. Let me turn that off, shut down the battery. But anyway, there's some Wuben for you. I'm glad they're innovating. I really appreciate that they sent me these and they gave me a chance to kind of be part of the early adopters and give them feedback with some of their original designs, and then it's fun to see where these things have ended up. So I'm looking forward to what they do in the future. And with that, Doc out.